It's Hunt coming to life. Kareem Hunt all the way.
Tyreek Hill, I don't know how you do that.
They stack the receivers. Forget it when Hill gets by you. End of story.
His roster was insane.
He built the best fantasy team of all time.
Lattimore pushes him. Mike Evans comes flying out of the top rope and lays out Lattimore.
What if I told you AJ Green's chokehold was the second biggest choke of the season? The WOAT, directed by Steve Schrum, part of ESPN Films' 30 for 30.
Middletown, New Jersey, a quiet town near the shore known for its beautiful scenery, low crime rate, and creepy clown. Middletown has been called home by countless successful stars throughout the years. Bon Jovi, Steven Van Zandt, Max Weinberg, Maury Povich, and No Sean Moreno are just a few of the numerous Middletown residents to make a name for themselves. One of the names not on that list? Chris Malicki. Chris was born in Middletown and grew up alongside his two vastly more successful brothers, Ryan and Sean. Eventually, Chris shocked the world and got accepted to the College of New Jersey. There, Chris underwhelmed in a bevy of intramural sports and was the editor-in-chief for the below-average school newspaper. The one common theme throughout his life? Disappointment.
Chris was never the sharpest crayon in the box. Growing up, he always struggled with coloring in the lines, you know. Never the most athletic one out there, but he always tried his hardest and looked his best doing it. Those cute little bangs. He did have the cutest face in a face only a mother could love type of way, of course.
Huh, what?
Dad, take your headphones off.
Huh?
Dad, take your headphones off.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, why do you think we had two more sons after Chris?
25 years of constant disappointment and failure have led to bouts of crippling depression. Chris often finds himself in the bottom of the freezer, eating his feelings away with Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
Oh, shut it off! I just wanted Chris to make something of himself.
Going into the 2017 league draft, Chris finally found that opportunity. Chris's 2016 season ended in disappointment, but he managed to get a good haul in 2017 draft picks. Armed with Bell as a keeper and additional picks, Chris looked to take the draft by storm.
Round 1, pick 3. Guy takes AJ Green. Right off the bat, just a head scratcher. On the board, you've got Evans, who gets 15 targets a game, and McCoy, the only option in Buffalo. And he goes Green.
Round 2, guy goes Marshawn Lynch. The same Marshawn Lynch who hasn't played football in over a year. Adams, Montgomery, Kelsey, all on the board. And he picks Lynch? The guy sucks.
Round 3, he takes Larry Fitz and immediately trades him to Juddy.
Talk about the fucking WOAT. All I gotta give up is the 2019 fourth? Come on, that's something sweet right there.
Then, with his additional third-round pick, he takes Kareem fucking Hunt. At this point, everyone's wondering if he had one too many scoops of half-baked ice cream. Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round? Who does that?
4th round, he goes with Jamison Crowder and Tyreek Hill in back-to-back picks. Crowder has upside, but 4th round? And I know the GOAT of all GOATs is throwing a Tyreek, but that offense never does anything.
Guy finishes out his top picks with Doug Martin, Cam Newton. Chris, just a complete WOAT, I'll tell you. What was worse, his draft or his cornhole skills?
The entire league dubbed Chris's draft as one of the worst of all time. But Chris was happy, as was a certain writer.
Look, with a roster of Cam, Le'Veon, Hunt, AJ Green, Hill, and Benjamin, how could I not be optimistic? Of the entire league, he clearly had the best roster. Chris clearly did his homework.
Armed with the confidence of the always optimistic Jason Wood, Chris had his sights set on a title. Up first, the reigning champion, Alex Passion.
Was I worried? Hell no. I was the defending champ, and Malicki is known for choking. I mean, I won the whole thing last year at 6-6, and these were my running backs. Johnny Stewart, Amir Abdullah, Darren Sproles.
Look, I needed to start the season off on a good note. I tanked last year, got a lot of picks, and put together what I think is a great squad. Nobody saw my vision, so I had to prove it against the defending champ.
Jordan Howard, Charles Sims, Kadeem Carey.
I mean, I really needed a big week out of my team.
Dwan Harris, Bilal Powell. But yeah, he absolutely killed me.
Killed him, he did. Kareem Hunt proved his third-round status and more as he scored an absurd 43.1 points against the Patriots on opening night. Hunt finished with 246 total yards, 5 receptions, and 3 total touchdowns. It looked like Chris's early gamble in the draft paid off. Chris split his next two to move to 2-1. He smelt something, and for once, it wasn't his sweaty body. That stench was a championship, and he knew he would need to make some trades to get there. Chris made his first trade of the year with Jim Cortiglia. Chris received perennial wide receiver and 4th overall pick Mike Evans in exchange for Kelvin Benjamin, who reportedly gained nearly 25 pounds in the offseason and has yet to show any form of consistency in the NFL.
Fuck you guys, my team sucked, and I needed to get something for Evans. Kelvin was an 11th round keeper at least. Fuck this.
But Chris wasn't done. A week after securing Evans, Chris was 3-2 and trying to make another trade with members around the league.
I was talking with a few people, but the only serious conversations were with Steve and Alex. Talks were stalling towards the deadline until Alex brought up the idea of a 3-team trade. The rest was history.
In the first ever 3-team trade, Chris received Drew Brees and Jordan Reed. Steve received Dak Prescott, Chris's 6th round pick, and Alex's 4th round pick. And Alex received Marshawn Lynch, Cameron Brate, and Steve's 9th round pick.
My team was in full tank mode at that point, and I had one more big trade left. I wanted a 4th from Malicki for Brees, but he wouldn't budge. I ended up having to get rid of Reed, a potential keeper, but I got a 4th and a 6th out of it. Gave me 4 picks for next year. I think Malicki got off a little easy, but I got what I wanted, so it worked out for me.
It really was a no-brainer for me. I was probably going to end up giving Strum a 5th for Brees in the end, but I ended up getting him and Reed for a 6th. I did have to give up Marshawn, but with Hunt and Bell, I would never use him. Plus, Washington and Richard were getting more and more carries each week, so Lynch probably wouldn't have been relevant by the end of the year anyway. Pretty much a steal for me.
Yeah, I knew I was getting hosed. I just wanted the trade to happen. Don't forget the lunch. Chris has to pay for a lunch for me, Steve, Mr. and Mrs. Strum, all served by Chad.
Chris Malicki? Who the hell is Chris Malicki?
Well, Chris is someone who assembled arguably the best lineup of all time. Analysts around the globe were in disbelief.
Brees, Bell, Hunt, Evans, Green, and Hill? I'm not even sure our website would let you input that stacked of a lineup. There's virtually no way he could mess this up.
Chris was in love with his new dominant lineup. Maybe a little too in love. Little did he know that a tan Jew was lurking in the background.
Week 7 started off great, honestly. Bell totals 192 yards, Hunt adds another 117. Evans finished with 87 and a touchdown. Brees even got me 21 points with only 1 touchdown. Couldn't complain.
But what the dumbass fails to mention is the 44.6 points he left on his bench. I guess Hunter Henry against Denver and Doug Martin at Buffalo sounds better than Tyreek Hill and Jordan Reed, doesn't it, Chris? Even with his gross incompetence, Chris still led by 44.2 points going into Sunday Night Football.
Patriots at home against the Falcons. There was this fog that blanketed the whole field. It was so bad that NBC couldn't even use their main cameras. The passing game was pretty much a non-factor all night. Hogan finished with 9.1, nothing much. Julio Jones was covered the entire game, barely did anything. Falcons are down 23-0 in the last drive of the game. Get it to the Pats 1. 1st and goal. You would think that teams against the Pats would have realized by now to run the ball at the 1-yard line. But no, they pass.
This is Ryan, and it is caught finally by Jones. So they're on the board. Malcolm Butler looked for a moment as if he was going to pick it.
Even with that, Chris was still up 14.7 points going into Monday Night Football, and all Eli had left was Chris Thompson.
Thompson gets .2 in the first quarter. Things are looking pretty good right now.
Among the Philadelphia defenders for those playing well. Cousins has a man wide open. Thompson will walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington.
Fuck!
Thompson didn't add much to his first half total of 9.6 points. He finished the third quarter with 10.7 points and fought for another 2.5 before heading into his last drive. Chris was up 1.5 points. Redskins had the ball.
I was texting Wilkie all night, but at this point, my eyes were glued to the TV. Garbage yards always play a huge factor, and to be honest, I found Wilkie's demise hilarious. It's 2nd and 22, minute 18 left. Cousins drops back and dumps it off to Thompson. Half point for the catch, but he loses 3 yards, so it's only plus .2. Wilkie up 1.3. Clock is running. Now it's 3rd and 25, 44 seconds left. Redskins need a touchdown, so anyone would expect a bomb downfield. Nope.
Get off the ball. Draw. Lots of running room for Thompson. A bad effort. He's still about 10 yards short of the first down.
15 yards on the draw. Chris down .2. Game over. I've honestly never laughed so hard.
I seriously thought I was going to throw up.
Yeah, I forgot it was Monday, and so I didn't even know the game was on. I think I went to sleep around like 9:30. Did I win?
Unfortunately for Chris, there was a game on Monday night, and it dropped him to 4-3. In Week 8, Chris went on to get absolutely trounced by Mike Palantone, dropping his record to 4-4. But on the Week 9 horizon was Jim, who was a measly 1-7 at that point.
Let's just call it how it is. My team was complete shit at that point. I was starting Aaron Jones, Tyler Lockett, George Kittle, Cooper Kupp. Just brutal.
I mean, the guy was 1-7, averaging 75 points per game. Finally, I had an easy win on my schedule to get me back over 500. But then, madness.
He's able to talk, and here they are.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
A.J. Green throwing punches.
You don't punch the helmet, number one.
It just showed the replay on the board here, and the fans see that A.J. Green threw punches.
Ejected. Finished with 1.1 points. But I still have Mike Evans, right?
It looked like Evans was right in the middle of it again, although Winston, oh, that's not good.
So that's the composure.
Then Evans comes over out of nowhere and just slams Lattimore to the deck. Evans should be thrown out of the game.
Actually, unbelievable. He didn't get ejected, but was clearly out of it the rest of the game. Finished with 1.8 points.
After the 4 p.m. games ended, Jim only scored a measly 57.7 points, which included negative 1.9 points from his lead running back, Jonathan Stewart. Good job, Jim. Not to be outdone, Chris only managed a pathetic 59.2 points of his own. Going into Monday Night Football, Jim needed 1.6 points from Aaron Jones to take the win.
2.1, motherfuckers.
After arguably the worst loss in league history, Chris dropped to 4-5 and was in desperate need of a win. Week 10 brought a matchup against Lawrence, and Chris was finally able to secure a victory behind 43-20 from Cam and AJ Green. With 33 points from Robert Woods on Lawrence's bench, Chris was back at 500.
You know, I felt bad for him, so I kept Robert Woods on the pine. I mean, I was really worried he was going to kill himself. He needed the win more than I did.
At 5-5 with 2 weeks left, Chris realistically needed one more win to get in. Up next was the shot of cock, Big Shot Behringer, who was on a 2-game losing streak.
The majority of my team had favorable matchups going into Week 11, and I had no players on a bye. John's team had been up and down for most of the year. I was somewhat confident.
But one thing Chris didn't realize, Business was a boomin'.
Hurry! Set on! Got him. And use the hard count. Flag is down. Free play. Takes the shot downfield. Antonio Brown goes up and gets it.
Takeoff. Ben knows he's got a free play, so he's going to look off the safety, got the safety to move, and basically just throw a jump ball. We saw him do that.
Okay, 1 touchdown for Brown so far. Can't really expect him to be held down by Tennessee.
Goal for the foul. Roethlisberger end zone. Antonio Brown touchdown.
Not ideal, but the game was pretty much over.
Spent a lot of time inside the red zone. From the 10, Roethlisberger throwing end zone. Antonio Brown, spectacular catch. Touchdown. Wow.
10 receptions, 144 yards, and 3 touchdowns. First time a guy's gone 10, 144, and 3 since 1968. Not a bad start.
In highly unusual fashion, Chris's team responded for once and scored a very respectable 113 points. Breeze posted 26 on nearly 400 yards passing, Bell added over 100 yards on the ground, and the Chargers defense scored an absurd 19 points. Chris was up 21 points heading into Monday night.
I had Wilson and Baldwin against the Falcons Monday night and needed 21 points. It was raining in Seattle, but I wasn't worried. With how unlucky Chris had been, I could have needed 121 and still felt fine.
John ended up getting a combined 46 points from Wilson and Baldwin and secured a comfortable 25-point win. Meanwhile, Chris's team fell to 5-6, and Chris was losing touch with reality. Was it bad luck? Was it the fact that Chris is arguably the worst manager in league history? It's probably ham, but he needed to get his shit together and focus on the final week of the season. Week 12 brought a matchup against another 5-6 team. His arch rival, Alex Passione. Winner got into the postseason. Loser missed out.
I was waiting for this matchup all year. I honestly would have paid another $100 just to guarantee that it meant something. On one side, you have Alex, coming off of a 2016 6-6 championship season, whose 2017 squad was arguably even worse. And on the other side, you have Chris, who put together one of the best rosters of all time, but literally can't buy a win. You couldn't script it any better.
Cake, dude. Wasn't worried at all. Malinky's been choking all year. But I was projected to lose by 25. It made sense, though. Malinky's got Le'Veon Bell and Kareem Hunt. And throughout the season, my running backs have been Bilal Powell, Marshawn Lynch, Latavius Murray.
I was a little worried. I was projected to dominate. My team is barely... Fine, just let him finish his running backs.
Tariq Cohen, Rob Kelly.
A few more to go.
Kenyon Drake, Jordan Howard, Mike Gillislee. Malinky's got no chance.
So Alex starts off week 12 with 30 points from Wentz on 3 touchdowns. Before that game, the Bears allowed a total of 8 touchdowns through their first 10 games. Of course.
My boy Wentz, the GOAT right there.
Wentz was just the beginning. 4 weeks ago, little did Chris know that Marshawn Lynch would have been the biggest chip in the historic 3-team trade.
The Raiders have the ball on the Broncos' 1-yard line. As any team with Marshawn Lynch does, they try to throw for the touchdown instead of run. Jared Cook makes an unbelievable catch, but the ball bobbles slightly as he's rolling over out of bounds. Naturally, the call gets overturned. 2 plays later...
Hey, is that... 3rd and goal, here comes Lynch. Got a nice block from Osebele. That is a touchdown, Marshawn Lynch.
Beast mode.
Marshawn Lynch finished the day with 67 yards rushing on 26 carries, as well as 3 receptions for 44 yards. His 26 carries were the most he's had in a game all season, and beat Kareem Hunt's total on the day by 15. His 3 receptions were the most he's had in a game since week 2 of 2015, and his 44 receiving yards were the most since week 8 of 2014.
Beast mode.
Heading into Sunday night, Chris was down 36 points with Bell and the Steelers' defense left. Bell was more than capable of having a big day, while the Steelers' defense was looking to feast on Brett Hundley, who was entering the game with 2 touchdowns and 7 interceptions through 5 games.
I need 24 from Bell on the Steelers' D, with them facing Brett Hundley. This was definitely possible.
2nd and 11. Hundley sliding to his left, deep downfield, and wide open is Randall Cobb for a touchdown.
Enough with the montages.
3rd down and 8. As he moves backwards against Williams, and Jamal Williams is inside the 30, out in front, a Green Bay touchdown.
Go ahead, play the last one.
Field. Hundley, shoulder shake, and breaking free down the sideline is Devontae Adams. Cuts it back to the inside. Devontae Adams into the end zone.
245 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Steelers D finished with 4 points.
But Chris still had Le'Veon Bell, who was nearing the end of regulation with 95 yards on 20 carries, with another 88 yards on 12 catches.
The game was tied at 28. At that point, I was down about 10. If it goes to overtime, all I would need from Bell is 3 receptions, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Definitely possible with the game he was having. The Steelers took the ball back with 17 seconds left on their own 30. No way they can get in field goal range in that time.
Roethlisberger dancing, throws to the sideline, and the catch is made, and they're going to call it as they review it themselves, the 2 of them. One guy says yes. Brown tries to scrape that right foot, left foot is in. Does he have control of the ball?
Oh my goodness, I think he did it. That back foot was dragging the ball. Let's make sure as he goes to the ground, how much of it can we see? If he holds on to this ball,
on the field.
We got to watch it all the way down. You know how the rule goes.
Inside 2 minutes, everything goes to replay in New York.
I think that is one of the most brilliant plays I've seen in a very long time.
After that, a 14-yarder to Brown. Ball at the Green Bay 35, 4 seconds left. A 53-yarder would be the longest field goal in Heinz Stadium history. Making field goals is nearly impossible in Pittsburgh. So this game was definitely going to overtime.
Candidate to snap it. Boswell's kick is good to win the game.
Let's go!
Chris lost the game by 10 and missed the playoffs. He finished the year 5-7, which included 4 losses while scoring above the league average. From week 7 on, of the 36 non-QB position players Chris started, only 4 scored above 15 points. Jim's team had 5. Chris's season was truly one of the biggest disappointments in fantasy football history. Looking back on it, there's really only one way to describe Chris Malicki.
The WOAT.
The WOAT.
The WOAT.
The WOAT.
The WOAT.
Someone tell me if I won or not.
The WOAT.
The fucking WOAT.
Seriously, who's Chris?
The WOAT.
The WOAT.
The WOAT. The WOAT.
The WOAT.
Alex went on to win his 2nd consecutive league championship, again with the 6-6 team. Chris? Well, after he was eliminated from the postseason, Chris's life fell into a tailspin. He was drinking, somehow eating more, and gambling his life savings away. The bad luck seemed to follow him everywhere and anywhere he went. Just when Chris thought his life was over, he was saved by a star-crossed romance with the unlikeliest of partners, a Jew. After the 2017 season ended, Chris married Eli in what was called the gayest wedding since Elton John's. From that moment on, Chris never stormed out of a Jewish deli again.